Yeah. Hi, we are the team number one of the group 315. We'll be present the learning evidence of the stage 3 virtual zoo. This is my team and the teacher. So let's start with the explanation of the animals.
Well, the animal I chose for this project was the tiger. Its scientific name is Panthera tigris. The tigers live in parts of Southeast Asia, China, and Eastern Russia, as they tend to inhabit areas of lots of foliage and prey such as flooded mangrove forests, tropical forests, savanna, or taiga, each one depending on the tiger subspecies. The tiger has adapted to a great variety of environments, from the Siberian taiga with temperatures as minus 40 degrees Celsius to the mangrove swamps where the temperatures reach more than 40 degrees Celsius. The biotic and abiotic factors of the tigers are, well, the biotic factors for the tigers are food, water, and forest. Food comes from their prey, and water must be enough to sustain them and their prey. Forests are allowed to hide and surround their prey. Abiotic factors are water, air, and rainfall, as air is needed for them to breathe, and water and rainfall helps them when temperature is too high. Tigers are carnivorous predators, which means that their feeding depends on hunting, thus they occupy the primary position in the food chain. They act as a control mechanism for the herbivores and consumers, as this type of animals, such as sambar deer, wild pigs, water buffalo, and antelope.
I will present the animal sea turtle, as its scientific name is Chelonioidea. Its habitat is that adults of most species are found in shallow, freshwater bays, lagoons, and estuaries. Some also venture into the open sea. Juveniles also speed may be found in bays and estuaries, as well as at sea. Its climate, sea turtles prefer habitat is warmer water temperatures in tropical or subtropical seas. Its position in the food chain, it mainly feeds on the bottom, dwelling invertebrates such as gastropods, bilbays, and crustaceans. Other prey include sponge, corals, polychaete worms, sea anemones, cephalopods, barnacles, insects, sea urchins, sea cucumbers, starfish, fish, Hadley turtle, and algae. Consume type, the green sea turtle is the only species of turtles that eats plants. It is a primary and secondary consumer because it eats plants and fish. Biotic and abiotic factors. The first biotic factor that affects turtles is humans. Humans are the biggest reason that sea turtles are becoming endangered. People do not throw their trash away, instead they leave it on the beach, and sea turtles think that it is food, so they eat it. The sand or dirt on the bottom of the sea is an abiotic factor because it is non-living. Another abiotic factor that affects sea turtles are hurricanes. Importance in the food chain. Sea turtles have a very important role in the food chain due to the role that they play in the food chain of the oceans. They are actually considered a keystone species. If they were to go to extinct, a lot of marine species will suffer.
Okay, so now we have the panda. The scientific name of the panda is Ailuropoda melanoleuca. Its habitat is that the panda bear lives mainly in temperate forests, hiding most in mountains of southern China, where they subsist almost entirely on bamboo, and wild pandas live only in remote mountainous regions in central China. These high bamboo forests are cool and wet, just as pandas like, and they may climb as high as 1,300 feet to feed on higher slopes in the summer season. Now we have the climate. So the giant pandas have a highland moist subtropical climate. The climate consists of warm temperature, high precipitation, and overall large climate variations due to the mountain ranges. Now we have the biotic and abiotic factors. The first biotic factor is fertility. Then we have the second one, that is human population expansion. The third one, that is food supply. And the abiotic factor number one is pollution. The second one is natural disaster. And the third one is climate changes. Now the panda's position in the food chain. So the giant panda, it's almost exclusively bamboo in the forest surrounding it, which means that pandas are herbivores, and herbivores are primary consumers, meaning that they eat producers such as plants and algae. Now, the consumer type. Well, pandas are primary consumers. As we mentioned before, pandas are herbivores, and due to that, they are primary consumers, meaning that they eat producers such as plants and algae, or in their case, bamboo. Their importance in the food chain. So the panda's role in the food chain is as a primary consumer, as we mentioned before, and pandas mostly eat bamboo, making them herbivores. Primary consumers play a significant role in our ecosystem, and without them, an ecosystem can lose its balance and collapse.
Now we have the African penguin. Its scientific name, let's start with it. The species name is Spenicus dimerius, in Latin meaning falling or sinking, referring to its diving behavior. In the habitat, the African penguin is endemic to the coast areas of South Africa. African penguins are found along the coastal areas of offshore islands. Their preferred habitats are flat sandy areas with sparse or abundant vegetation, growth or steep, rocky sides, and sparse vegetation. The climate, the coast of South Africa are around 20 degrees for an average year round. So although it seems like a lot of penguins, it's always cold and they are accompanied by the sea. So let's continue. Now we have the biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic factors can be natural or of human origin. For example, African penguin biotic factors include natural predators, mating behavior, relationship with humans, and effects on birds of the bird's food supply. The abiotic factors that affect them most are themselves caused by humans, such as the pollution of the seas and the increase in temperature in the environment. Now we have a position in the food chain. If we can see, first one, we have a larva, then a normal fish, then an African penguin, and then a killer whale. So we can say that an African penguin is a second consumer. So let's continue. Consumer type, besides eating fish, the penguin also start krill, squid, crustaceans, and amphibians. These animals feed on plants. This turns the penguin into secondary consumers. Now we have importance in the food chain. Due to their wide geographic habitat, penguins play a key role in the variety of food chain, both as predators and as prey. The diet of the various penguin species include krill, crustaceans, small fish, squid, and others. Shark and killer whales are the main predators of penguin when they are dive in the deep water. When whales are in their migration season, they are close to shore, and while they do not eat much during the migration, a penguin snack is just too good to pass up. So the importance of the penguins is great, because if there were not, there will be an overpopulation of animals that they eat, and the animal that eat them will suffer hunger and die. So this is the explanation for the African penguin.
Now I am going to talk about the koala. Its scientific name is Phascolarctos cinereus. Habitat. Koalas live over a range of open forests and woodland communities, but ultimately their habitat is defined by the presence of a select group of food trees. The distribution of koalas covers much of Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and a small area in South Australia. Climate. Koalas have thick hair and skin that help insulate them against cold. In the south, they tend to be slightly larger and have heavier hair, probably to help them through colder winters. This fur also can deflect heat. Koalas usually become uncomfortable in temperatures above 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Biotic factor. Native to Australia, koalas spend most of their lives in eucalyptus trees, sleeping and eating. Trees are biotic. Koalas rely on eucalyptus trees for both habitat and energy. Abiotic factor. Koalas mainly get water from the eucalyptus leaves, so a source of fresh water is not as important, but is still an abiotic factor that can affect koalas. Koalas need oxygen to breathe. Water and oxygen are abiotic factors that affect koalas. Importance in the food chain. Koalas are important to the Australian environment and the ecosystem because their scat deposits feed the forest floor that help the woodlands grow and regenerate, leading to an increase in biodiversity. Droppings are also known to be a source of food for small mammals and insects. There are certain primary consumers that are called specialists because they only eat one type of producers. An example is a koala, because it feeds only on eucalyptus leaves. The koala is an herbivore. The koala bear is a primary consumer of this food web. A primary consumer is the animal or thing that eats most of the stuff in the food web. The koala mainly eats eucalyptus leaves, but on occasions they eat tree bark and wattle.
Now I'm going to talk about the polar bear. Its scientific name is Ursus maritimus. Its habitat is located in the Arctic Ocean. It consists of taiga and tundra biomes, which also dominated by very high elevations, even in the tropics. This habitat is being impacted dramatically by global warming. The climate of the Arctic is one of the coldest on the planet, with more or less persistent annual temperatures, divided into 2 seasons of 6 months each. The first season is summer. In this season, there is continuous sunlight 24 hours a day, as well as mist, snowfall, and weak cyclones with rain or snow. And the another season is the winter. In the winter, there is perpetual night with clear skies and stable weather conditions. Now I'm going to talk about the biotic and abiotic factors. The biotic factors that surround the polar bears are other animals. Most animals in the Antarctic region that interact with the polar bear are the whales, seals, penguins, and fish. And the abiotic factors. The abiotic factors that affect the polar bears are the temperature, precipitation, and sunlight. Also, it is affected by global warming. This is caused by the pollution, and due to this, the ice is getting melted. And the ice is very useful for the polar bears because they use this ice to hunt. Now, the consumer type. Polar bears are tertiary consumers, meaning that they eat other secondary and primary consumers. The polar bears' first choice of food are the seals, and after that, they search for whales or fishes. Its importance in the food chain is that they are at the top of the food web. This makes them a keystone species. This means that they are consumers that help maintain the balance of the food web. And here we can see the food chain of the polar bear. First is the algae, then the plankton. After the plankton is the krill, now the fish, and after that the seal, and at the top of the chain is the polar bear.
So with this, we can end our presentation. This is our reference. We expect you enjoyed very much. Thank you. Goodbye.